Welcome friends! Today we're gonna watch some cheaters getting caught, so let's go!
Okay guys, you want a story time? Let's do it. I do just want to start off by saying that obviously this video really blew up, got a lot of attention, and there are people who want us to stop. They don't want us to put this information out there.
We want to hear it.
Hiding. While I get it, the story must be shared.
Yep.
However, we did hear that the other woman in this story has received over 1,000 death threats, and I just want to make that clear on...
Guys, don't send any death threats to anyone. It's just not worth it. Don't involve yourself in any situations. It's not our place at all.
And
we're just here for the tea.
Kristen and I's behalf, that we do not in any way, shape, or form wish death on either one of them. That's just not the goal here. I'm simply just sharing the truth, seeking a little bit of justice. So here we go. A couple of years ago, Kristen and her husband and daughter sold all of their things and renovated a bus to live in and traveled all over the country.
That's cool.
They had a pretty big following on YouTube, Instagram. TikTok was getting there. It was under #1 bus, which since all of this has been deleted. Last summer, they decided to meet up with a married couple and a single guy who also lived in a bus, and they traveled around.
Oh my god. So I actually know of this story, and it's crazy, guys. You have to listen. You're gonna be like, what the hell? I've heard of it. I don't know all the details, but it's honestly just buckle up.
Together, stayed on the same property as each other for 3 months. One of their first videos that they posted all together, my friend, her husband, as well as the other woman and the other woman's husband, I right away noticed some weird chemistry between my best friend's husband and the other woman who was married. However, I did just make a note of it, didn't think too far into it, and moved on. Right around September of last year, my best friend called me and she said, "How much time do you have?" And if you have a best friend, you all know what that means.
Yep.
She then proceeded to say how her husband was starting unnecessary fights and he was hanging out at the other buses really late at night. And she then was led to go through his text messages and found some stuff deleted in the thread with the other woman. There was nothing
suspicious
set in stone, but you could tell parts of the conversation were missing, and even the stuff that was left up was extremely inappropriate. You could definitely tell that there was either something that had happened or was going to happen. Either way, Kristen was really upset. She confided in her husband and the other woman, who she thought was her friend, and both conveniently had the same story. The story was that the other woman had confided in Kristen's husband about the ways that she was upset with Kristen, and she didn't want Kristen to see what she had said about her.
First of all, how inappropriate for the other woman go to her husband to confide in him. Girl, no, that is crossing a boundary. So basically what happened is, as far as I remember, it's basically two couples living or traveling together for quite a while, for 3 months, I think she said. So they're living in their rig, and then this couple with Kristen, they're living in the bus, and they kind of obviously mixing, having their dinners, cooking together, and kind of also there's kids involved, so...
That's where we're going to run out of time. Stay tuned for part 2. They both swore up and down nothing was going on, that she was looking too far into it, but ultimately Kristen had decided that it was best to leave this group, go back home to Florida, and try to work on things and fix her marriage.
Absolutely.
At this point, she was really angry. She did feel like the trust was broken, even though she couldn't really find any evidence, even just them having this kind of relationship.
Guys, come on, you have this gut feeling. When have it been wrong? That's what it's there for. It's always right. If you have a gut feeling, trust it, or at least investigate it. Don't just leave it for years and then people find out and then say, "Oh yeah, I had the gut feeling years ago." Act on it. Don't waste any time, girl. Come on.
She just felt like he broke her trust. So they started therapy, and That's when Kristen really just went back and forth. She obviously loved this person and she wanted to try to work it out. She couldn't find any evidence that he had actually cheated. They were both sticking to the same story. And even though she was really upset, she decided to change her mindset and her approach on the situation and love her husband more than she's ever had. She started reading books on how to get through things like this. She even started going to church, okay? She was hurting, but trying to go within and be better because of it in hopes that her marriage could grow. However, there was still some things that were just not adding up, and this time her husband started taking a lot of work trips. He didn't want to do therapy anymore, and she was just not feeling like he was a husband who was showing up, really wanting to work on his marriage, so she tried to leave. He begged and pleaded for her to stay, for them to work things out, and so she ended up going back and really tried to let it all go and not think about it anymore. Not me, though. I started noticing on the other woman's TikTok that she was no longer married. The page wasn't about her and her husband anymore. It was just about her and her 3 dogs. And I started noticing that she was posting...
Oh, so the other couple, so the woman from the other couple, so she suddenly became a solo channel instead of like a family channel. And then she started basically vlogging just her, and the husband kind of suddenly disappeared off her YouTube page channel.
In Florida. She then posted a TikTok wearing the my best friend's husband's shirt, and it really just popped the whole thing off.
Oh, hell no. The audacity. You post something wearing someone else's husband t-shirt. I think she wanted you to know.
Let's just say I put on my FBI badge and the investigation officially began. People were commenting on her post saying, "Are you in this town? I know where that is." And it was the same town that my best friend and her husband were living in at the time.
Oh my God.
Not only that, but a lot of her posts that she was making, which of course, since all of this has come out, she has deleted almost everything on her page with her face or her personally, and it's just now about her and her dogs. However, at the time, she was posting pretty often, and a lot of her posts were almost identical to things that Kristen was posting. And this is where we're going to start running out of time again, so let's just do part 3. So I start looking into this girl code psychology of why she was posting stuff like this. Either she was sending a public message to Kristen to let her know, giving her hints, or 100%. She just gave absolutely 0 fucks. The real kicker in the whole situation was that with her bus page, she created this sort of outlook on her life that she was living her best life with her 3 dogs, traveling solo, and having the best time of her life. Obviously, Kristen and I both saw these, and we just could not figure out why she would be posting things like this. Even though there were some things that we just didn't have answers to, her and her husband at the time, so she thought, were in a really good place. He had kind of sort of convinced her that their marriage was better than ever and that they were more in love than ever. And the things that he did in this time, you would have also thought they were more in love than ever.
Yeah, but not everyone would ignore those signs and stay in the first place. She had a gut instinct, and then suddenly he begged her to stay, and then he became this perfect husband. That's like a major red flag. And also, obviously, he stayed because he wants to have, his pie and eat it. He wants to have his wife at home doing all the stuff that she's taking care of, so he doesn't have to worry about that. And then he goes to the side and has his fun with someone else. So he has the both, best of the both worlds, or so he thinks. Like, what?
Because of that, she just said, "I'm not going to look at this girl stuff anymore. It's not good for me. I have to move on." And that's when the universe stepped in. In June, she posted a video for a plastic-free July, and the company that she was talking about reached out to her, asked her if they could post it and if she would send it to them through the WhatsApp. She didn't
Okay.
have the WhatsApp, so she went on her husband's phone and realized that his cellular data was turned off. She turned it back on and immediately got a notification, opened the WhatsApp, and this is when she found the message from the other woman. Get ready to pause so you can read.
Okay, so I miss you. I know I've said a million times, but I can't wait for the day we get to be together. I feel like there will be the day I can finally relax and breathe again. Try calling. I'm in Chiba with a little service, but as soon as I get out, you can FaceTime. I want to see your face. What a...
At this point, it was 9 months of investigation. No evidence, obviously. Kristen was tracking his location and all of his texts and phone calls, and she couldn't find anything in 9 months. Kristen immediately called the other woman, FaceTimed the other woman from his phone. When she answered, she saw that it was Kristen. She immediately hung up. Kristen then called back, and the first thing that the other woman said is, "What do you want?" Kristen said, "I just want the truth. Please just tell me the truth." And the other woman asked if they could meet up, and that's when we learned that she was conveniently staying 10 to 15 minutes away from where their bus was parked since January.
Ew.
Mind you, this was June. Once the other woman had learned that my best friend's husband was clearly lying to her, the stories weren't matching, the things that he was telling her just weren't the truth. Let's dive in more at part 4.
Let's go.
The other woman had told Kristen that her husband had said that he was going to leave her in the fall, that they hadn't been intimate.
Obviously, as they all do, he's gonna leave the wife or whatever he's with, or the girlfriend, and then he's gonna leave her for the mistress. Come on, like, how many times does this really happen?
In over a year,
just playing both sides,
and that he wasn't in love with her anymore, and just all of it was the furthest thing from the truth.
Yeah.
She then proceeded to say that they had started having an affair 2 weeks into their travel last summer. And
whilst the other woman was still together with her husband or partner, so they've been living in separate rigs, and them two were having an affair as they were living like in the same space.
Having an affair the entire time they were traveling together. They cut off the affair once my best friend and him moved back to Florida, and he ended up reaching back out to the other woman through Spotify, and they picked back up with the affair in January, and that's why she moved down to Florida. At this point, freaking out because she's just finding out that her boyfriend is a liar. Whereas my best friend had felt like a prisoner for a year. She was made to believe that she was crazy. She was told things like, "You're just never going to get through this. I didn't do anything. I swear on everything."
Swear to God, like, you want to cheat, like, end your relationship. Like, let the other person do what they want to do and continue living the life. But the thing is, they're too selfish, and they always want to have that person at home, taking care of the house, not, the normal life not disturbed, and they just kind of have this secret life on the side. Like, how just...
I never did it. And for a while, she started to believe that maybe it was all in her head. So as you can imagine, getting the truth, she just finally was at so much peace. The other woman, however, started absolutely freaking out. This is when she started sharing a lot of details in hopes to hurt Kristen, which just was absolutely mind-blowing to me. I will not be sharing those details. I will leave that up to Kristen if she wants to share it, but just know they're extremely disturbing. After that, Kristen decided to bring the other one back to the bus. So they drove back to confront her husband, and my friend ultimately decided to leave and take her daughter to a safe place and left the two alone to talk. And this is when she called me. She had sent me that screenshot of the conversation right away before she went to go meet up with her, and I had her location, and I was just kind of keeping tabs on her, making sure that she was okay while they were meeting. So by the time that she called me, obviously I was upset, I was crying, I was pissed. 9 months of investigation and 9 months of just putting my best friend through
Girl.
kind of a psych ward. Like,
Hell.
she literally felt like she was insane. She was made to believe that she could not trust her intuition, and that just don't sit right with me.
Absolutely.
The other woman did, however, go right up to the husband and ask, how could you lie to me? You said A, B, C, and it's just not the truth.
What did I say? And then he was playing both sides for his own benefit.
And there was this huge standoff, and it was just messy.
Like, you know what gets me with these people that, like, are the mistress or whatever, the secret affair? Like, do you really think that he's gonna lie to his partner or her partner and then treat you right? I mean, this kind of tells the character of the person and his morals. Like, he's gonna do exactly the same thing to you. Like, it'll never work.
Okay, let's wrap this up in part 5.
Ooh,
After she called me, obviously the first thing that I wanted to know is, why was she the one that left them there to talk? Like, the other woman was acting like she was the wife, that she was the one that felt betrayed and lied to, and it was just kind of insane. However, Kristen at this point immediately started crying, which I have not seen her do in quite some time, and just said, because I'm done. I'm just done.
Everything hit her.
Just trying to imagine how she must have felt in that moment after a year of just feeling like she was absolutely insane. And within moments,
she found out that her life was literally a lie, and the whole thing just, it was like a big lie that now she has to live a whole different life, and like I think the consequences of that and just the whole information,
her entire life was changing. There were friends keeping an eye on the husband and the other woman while they were talking, and said that they just seemed like they were fighting, and the other woman was really upset. We later learned that their conversation ended with the husband promising the other woman that he was going to work on himself in hopes that they could be together again. And then he came right into the bus, called Kristen, saying that he wanted to be with Kristen. And
this is just classic. I can't even. He still wants to continue his double life.
And was crying and wanted to make things work with her. Obviously, the two women shared that story with each other, and the other woman became even more upset. During this time, I was seeing red. My friend was trying to come from this as an approach of, I am not going to let this take me down. I'm going to stay strong. And that's when I pretty much just grabbed the wrath by the reins and took to her account and commented as many comments as I could, trying to expose the story. What bothered me the most was this fake persona that she was putting on with her almost 3 million followers on TikTok. That she was.
Yeah, so it was quite a big channel. It was quite a popular channel on YouTube between like van lifers and travelers and off-grid. So it was quite popular, and also popular on TikTok. So obviously it just proves whatever you see, whatever they portray, happy families, like it's never true. The fancy houses and cars that they have, like literally, like it's probably like 5% or less actually
living this great life, all while in reality she was hiding out 10 to 15 minutes away from her married boyfriend's bus, and just didn't sit right. Not only that, but throughout the whole meeting and even after they met up and she was talking with the husband, the entire time she played the victim. She wanted people to feel bad for her, including Kristen. She was confiding in Kristen like she had found out that her boyfriend was cheating on her, and just all of it was absolutely insane. Ultimately, there was absolutely no remorse on this other woman's end. It didn't feel like she was...
Well, obviously there's no remorse. She's selfish. She didn't think of the wife once, and her being the wife, she didn't even think of the consequences of how much pain is going to cause someone. Of course she didn't think.
Really sorry. It didn't feel like it was a time for her to come clean and say that she was, sorry. It was more about, oh my God, I can't believe that I just caught my married boyfriend in a lie. And it looks like we're gonna need just one more part.
Oh, the
After
final.
everything happened, my best friend did leave her husband, and she and her
Good on
daughter
her.
are staying with a couple of friends who opened their home up to her, not too far from where their bus was parked. I did learn on Thursday that the other woman is still parked in the same place. She has not left, and that's really just what put some fire up in my ass to post that video on Thursday.
Oh, well, guys, so that was it. So yeah, I kind of agree with not like canceling her channel, or obviously I don't think it's for us or for viewers to decide, but hopefully the following she did have kind of will open their eyes to the person she actually is and not who she's portraying on her channels across different platforms. They're gonna realize that she's not a very nice person, okay? At all. Anyway, guys, so that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's story, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Mwah.